Welcome. Many people think Buddhism is about becoming calm or always feeling peaceful. In reality, it begins with a much more practical question. Why do human beings suffer? More than 2,500 years ago, the Buddha offered an answer that became known as the Four Noble Truths. They are not commandments, beliefs that must be accepted, or promises of a perfect life. They are observations about the human experience. Whether you consider yourself Buddhist or not, they invite you to look honestly at your own mind and notice how suffering begins, why it continues, and what can gradually reduce it. The first noble truth is that life contains suffering. The Buddha was not saying that life is only suffering or that happiness is impossible. He was pointing out something we all recognize. Life includes disappointment, grief, uncertainty, illness, frustration, and change. Even our happiest experiences eventually come to an end. Much of our distress comes from believing that these experiences are somehow abnormal. We tell ourselves that life should be fair, that things should go according to plan, or that difficult periods should not last so long. When reality fails to match those expectations, we often suffer twice. Once because of the event itself, and again because we struggle against the fact that it happened. The first noble truth simply asks us to stop arguing with reality long enough to see it clearly. The second noble truth explains why suffering grows. The Buddha taught that suffering is sustained by craving and attachment. This is often misunderstood. Attachment is not the same as love or caring. It is the belief that our happiness depends on life unfolding in one particular way. We become attached to success, certainty, relationships, health, reputation, or even the image we have of ourselves. When any of these things change, the mind immediately tries to pull them back to where they were. It replays conversations, imagines different outcomes, worries about the future, or refuses to accept what has already happened. The problem is not that we care. The problem is that we demand permanence from a world that is constantly changing. The third noble truth offers hope. If attachment creates suffering, then learning to loosen our attachment can reduce it. This does not mean becoming distant, indifferent, or emotionally numb. Buddhism does not ask us to stop loving people or enjoying life. Instead, it encourages us to appreciate what we have while recognizing that everything changes. When we stop insisting that life must always match our preferences, we discover a different kind of peace. We still experience sadness, disappointment, and loss, but they no longer have to become endless mental battles. Acceptance does not erase pain, but it often prevents unnecessary suffering from growing around it. The fourth noble truth describes the path that helps us put these ideas into practice. The Buddha called it the Noble Eightfold Path. Rather than seeing it as a list of rules, it is more helpful to think of it as a way of living that gradually trains the mind. It encourages us to speak honestly, act with compassion, earn a living ethically, pay attention to the present moment, and develop wisdom through reflection rather than impulse. None of these changes happen overnight. They are habits that become stronger through repeated practice. Like learning any skill, the aim is not perfection. Each small decision shapes the next, and over time those decisions begin to change the way we respond to life. These four noble truths remain at the heart of Buddhism because they begin with an experience every human being shares. We all encounter loss, uncertainty, and change. We all search for ways to avoid discomfort and hold on to what we love. The Buddha's insight was not that suffering can be eliminated completely. It was that much of the suffering we carry is created by the mind's resistance to reality. The more clearly we recognize that pattern, the more freedom we have to respond differently. That is why these teachings have endured for centuries. They are not asking us to become different people, They are inviting us to understand ourselves a little more honestly, one experience at a time. Thank you for being here, and take care.